What's up, you guys? This is your Monday mood for March 23rd through March 29th. And this week we have an interesting aspect happening on Thursday. It is Chiron, the wounded healer, conjunct Venus. Venus has to do with our emotions and our heart and how we show up in our connections with other people. And as I said, Chiron is in Aries and it's the wounded healer. So those two things coming together kind of can be painful. It can create a sense of understanding where there's just discontent. There's just not cohesion with what you need and what others need. And with it being an Aries, it's definitely focused on the self, right? And I want to talk about this because Aries is the I am. So where I am right now in my life, I feel this Chiron conjuncting Aries placement, and it hurts. Like, my feelings are hurt, my energy feels wounded. I feel like a little sad, honestly, not just with one thing or another, but with multiple things. And this past weekend, we had an amazing event that, I talked about it for a whole month, and, it was lightly attended. And this is not my first time doing an event that not a lot of people came to. It won't be my last, I'm sure. But it does hurt, you know what I'm saying? And it feels really sad face. Like, it feels really draining and really kind of disheartening to care and show up and it not be met, with other people's enthusiasm or excitement or support. And we don't do things for others, we do them for ourselves, and I know that very well. But I do what I do for others so they can be their best self. So it is a relationship with other people. It is a connection thing. It is a Venus thing here. And with Chiron conjuncting that on Thursday, I'm feeling that kind of like, gosh, hurts my feelings. But what can we learn and how can we grow through that kind of like very clear, highlighted pain? That's how astrology can be self-reflective and self-actualizing and self-healing. So although it feels uncomfortable, and although like I genuinely feel a little like hurt in my heart, I understand that this is part of my own personal journey, and how can I learn from this? How can I grow through this? Everything's not going to be perfect. Virgo, right? Virgo sun, South Node's in Virgo, and I'm still releasing that understanding and some identity around the fact that, even if you have the best plan, it doesn't really matter if it's not timed right or, it's out of your control. And that's the most South Node in Virgo thing that I have been learning since the nodes shifted last January, is that there is no such thing as control. And that's scary. And that sucks. But, it's the truth. So, anywho, there's not a lot of astrology going on, which is why I decided to just emphasize that Chiron, because you might be feeling it and might be wondering why you might be hurting or feeling a little pain. And it's not comfortable and it feels icky, but it's going to be okay. And we'll get on the other side of it. Mercury will get out of its post shadow on Friday as well. So that might help to clear up the mental. With that, let's just get into the reading. I'm going to use my Wild Unknown deck. And let's see what's up for the collective for the week of March 23rd through March 29th. We're in Aries season now. Like I said, it really is focused on the self. And that is where your focus should be. It is not selfish. It is not bad to care about yourself, to center yourself, to love yourself, to honor yourself. Because once you do that, then you're much more rooted in truth and can connect better with the other. Being the opposite of Aries is Libra, which is all about the other people. So Aries season brings us back to ourself so that we can remember who we are, and so we can show up in our best, most authentic version of that self, or evolved version of that self, and ultimately, create stronger bonds, stronger situations, and what have you. Wow, the Six of Swords is at the bottom. Very cool. So this is about kind of getting over or getting through some really challenging, mentally taxing, kind of heavy energy. And I think it's through the Chiron conjunct Venus placement that happens this week for us. That we can start to realize that it's okay to move forward, move on from things that have felt in conflict, because that's just the flow of energy, and that's the understanding that you can regain balance, but you have to be willing to move on from conflict. You have to move on from a lack of solution. And with the Chiron coming up with Venus, it's pinpointing where we have to kind of like, okay, this sucks, but I can't stay here because it feels, Five of Swords, it feels like conflict, it feels like defeat. The Six of Swords is giving us the opportunity to move past that and find some harmony, find some peace of mind around wherever this may be landing in your life. Look at where Aries is in your chart. So for me, Aries has to do with my beliefs, how I believe, my spirituality. And if I know myself to be the spiritual person that I am, I have to understand the cycles, the rhythms, the flows of the energy, and realize that this too shall pass, and that doubling down on that Aries sector of my chart and really understanding, okay, there's something coming up here, but you know who you are, and you know what you believe, and you know how you view this world and how you operate within it. That's kind of the peace that can be achieved. And that's just from my perspective. But check out where Aries is in your chart so you can see on the Knight of Cups. So this is Venus, right? And so this is Cups energy, love, some love coming into your life, love flowing into you, self-love, really honoring that sensitivity within yourself, the vulnerability within yourself. I'm not typically vulnerable on here. I don't usually talk about my feelings with anybody. And when I do, I usually express myself in the worst way ever because I shove them down. But with this, the Knight of Cups, there's a softness, there's a care, there's like a kindness that is helping us get on the other side of maybe what has felt defeating, or has felt like conflict, or has felt like no fun because we have to deal with this wound, right? Like the wounded healer Chiron, it doesn't heal, right? But it learns, it adapts, it adjusts, it evolves, but it's always kind of sting a little bit. So with that, the Knight of Cups is saying, bringing a little love, bringing a little soothing, bringing a little relief to the heart, to the soul this week. So be gentle with yourself this week. If things come up that feel painful, it's okay. How is it helping you come back more into yourself and your belief in self and your understanding? Check out Aries in your chart so you can see how it might be specifically highlighting your energy. And that's your Monday mood, you guys. A little weird, a little different, but pretty real. So that's that. I will see you guys next week. Bye.